This is an example of probability from a two-way table. Pew Research asked adults who got their news primarily from television which sector they relied primarily on for their news. The results are shown in the table. Before we do this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to find the totals for the table. So men said 66 from local TV, 48 from network TV, and 58 from cable TV, and that gives us a total of 172 men who were surveyed. For the women, 82 said local TV, 54 said network TV, and 56 said cable TV, and that gives us a total of 192 women. And we're also going to add to our table the totals for local TV, which is 148, the local for network TV, which is 102, and the local for cable TV, which is 114. And altogether, there were 364 people who were surveyed. The reason these totals are important is because we're going to use them to find our probabilities. This first question said, what percent of those surveyed got their news primarily from local TV? It's really important to pay attention to the word of in these problems because that tells us which group we're interested in. In this problem, we're interested in everyone who was surveyed. So if you remember from our previous slide, the total number that were surveyed was 364. Of those, we want to know how many got their news from local TV. So the number that got their news from local TV was 148. So to find this probability, we would take 148 divided by 364, and we're going to write that as a percentage, so we'll multiply it by 100%, and that gives us a result of 40.7%. Let's take a look at another example. What percent of the women got their news primarily from cable TV? So in this case, we're not interested in everyone, we're just interested in the women. Remember that we added up the number of women earlier, and we found that there were 192 women who were surveyed. And of those, 56 got their news from cable TV. So this probability would be 56 divided by 192. And again, we're going to change it into a percentage, so we'll multiply it by 100%. And this gives us a result of 29.2%. One last example. What percent of those who got their news from cable TV were women? This sounds like the previous problem, but it's different in an important way. The group that we're interested in, the percentage of, are those that got their news from cable TV. So the number that got their news from cable TV was 114. This is the only group we're interested in, and so we're going to use 114 for our denominator. And of this group, we want to know what percent were women. 56 were women, so to change this to a percentage, 56 divided by 114 multiplied by 100% gives us 49.1%.